spend my mornings anywhere from 8:30 to about, call it, 11:30, 12. Full disclosure, just kind of like bullshit, half-ass prospecting for the commercial real estate stuff. I pulled the list off PropStream. Anybody in what I think is my market that owns 5+ units, I'll call them. I have gotten a little bit of leeway. I found these listings that we've got. I got a 5-unit right here in town that I, put out a BOV for. I've got an appointment with the guy tomorrow. That one, I'm pretty close on that one.
I would probably, so I was going to say, I probably would get Reonomy just for lead list purposes. I think it's 10 times better than PropStream.
Okay, I have access to CoStar.
So I've used CoStar. I think that it's it's a decent option. I just think Reonomy is probably the best. CoStar's good for pulling comps, running a BOV, all that, trying to do that. Like, I think CoStar is the best for that. But for pulling lead lists, I think it's kind of hard to beat Reonomy, to be honest with you. But look, if you have CoStar and you're pulling 500 at a clip and you're actually prospecting through it, you're probably, think about it like this. With CoStar, you're probably, let's just say for every 500 numbers that you pull, because you can do 500 at a clip, you're probably getting somewhere between a 10 and 20-ish% contact ratio, not contact, like actual true phone number, right? The correct phone number. And Reonomy is probably double.
Well, let's start with the fact that I don't even know how to pull a list on CoStar yet. Listen,
so,
man.
Reonomy is also super simple. Like, there's literally just, you can pull in, you can export a list in 10 seconds. Like, it's very
okay. Listen, again, I built this, but I'm starting from scratch, man. I'm starting from zero.
No, that's
fine. I know real estate.
Like, the only tools that I would tell you need is something like Reonomy to pull your lead list, Mojo Dialer to prospect through the lead list at an efficient pace, and then a CRM system. That's it.
Which
I
have
a CRM, which I'm imagining you do, I would just use it.
Well, I've got a CRM that I use for the residential space. I use Podio at the moment.
I just use
Don't
Podio.
love it. Is it good?
Look, I've used Podio. Do I think it's the best? No. By any means, no. I just think that, like, I don't believe in the fact that, like, you need to change CRMs, or work with a different like, there's not a CRM system that you're going to use that's unbelievable. There's just not. Like, you need a CRM system that you can put a lead in with all their contact information and notes, and then it reminds you when to call them again. That's all you needed to do.
That's it, right?
That's it. No, don't get me wrong. Look, I use REI Reply and Follow Up Boss. Those are the two CRM systems that I use, but we use them specifically for what they're really good at. Right? REI Reply is really good for text campaigns.
Right.
We could do a lot of cold text campaigns through REI Reply. And then Follow Up Boss is really good for organizational purposes and email and text follow-up campaigns. So once we've gotten them as a lead. Those are the two CRM systems we use. But again, I'm a kind of person where, like, I'm not going to tell you just to go spend money for no reason. Like, Podio is fine for now. If you want to change, be my guest, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary.
I would like a change. I'm looking for a fresh start here, Henry.
Okay.
I am very much the type, man, whatever, and I hate to kind of say it like this out loud, but whatever you guys tell me to do, I'm going to do.
Cool.
I mean, which is exactly
Mojo Dialer, Follow Up Boss.
Reonomy, Mojo Dialer,
Follow Up
Boss.
That's it.
1, 2, 3. Done.
Reonomy is a really simple process. There's several videos of literally explaining to you about how to pull a lead list out of Reonomy. Very, very simple. You can look it up on the YouTube channel. Very easy. You can ask me 100 questions on the trainings. Again, hey, I'm looking at Reonomy. What do you recommend for this, or this? You could do that 100 times. So I can, I'll support you there. Okay?
Okay.
What I'd recommend, so in the mornings, you said you can prospect from what, 8:30 to 12, 12:30?
I can prospect whatever times you tell me, hey, Eddie, these are the ideal times to do it. I've got all day because I can build a residential prospecting around it.
My team right now prospects from 8:30 a.m. till 1:30 p.m. That's our cold calling windows. And then the entirety of the rest of their days is spent pitching deals, which is basically like taking the leads that they already have and then calling up a buyer and saying, hey, got a property, 123 Main Street. I want you to take a look at it. Do you have a few minutes? They pitch that deal out and try to get a true offer on that deal. And that's their whole day. I mean, literally, it's 5-6 hours of prospecting for new leads and then 3 to 4 hours of selling the deals that they already have.
Even before it's something concrete, just saying, hey, listen, I've got the hunch on this.
Yes.
Take a look at it. Let me know what you think.
Correct. Yeah. And let's get an offer on it, kind of thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I can do that, man.
Like, I'll give you an example. One of my guys prospected this deal, 250,000 square foot building, warehouse deal in Jersey. We just got it. I kicked it over to my guy who has runs like a hedge fund, and basically said, hey, I have this deal. I'd love for you to take a look at it. This is all the preliminary information. They want this price. This is everything that I have. It wasn't a ton of information. We literally just got it today. and I'm working on getting an offer on it, right? So it's
Right.
like, and then my goal is that like I'll get an offer presented, and I'll go back to the individual, try to get some financials, try to get every bit of information that they need in order to make the offer. We'll kind of go back and forth, and we'll try to get an offer on this property within the next 24 to 48 hours, right?
Awesome.
I try to move as fast as possible to try to get that, because time kills deals, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like every deal you generate today, the rest of the day is selling it. That's it. Like in every single lead, I'm generating it today, and I want an offer in 24 to 48 hours. I want it immediately, right?
Right. Yeah. I've got you.
Right. So it's speed the lead with us, right? Like, so 100% of the leads that we generate, we make an offer on 100% of them. And I make an offer, like me, like I personally probably have my team drafting something like 20 to 30 LOIs a day in my name. We're constantly trying to push out more and more offers as fast as possible. Because like the name of the game in the commercial real estate world, like, listen, it's not about listings. It's residential is about listings. Whoever has the most listings will probably sell the most real estate.
Right.
In commercial real estate, whoever has the most deal flow of good deals, you need the most good deal flow, you'll make the most money. Because you can have a bunch of shit properties that you list on the market at twice market value, you're never going to sell it. Who cares about a listing? So it's like, my intention is teaching people, identifying opportunity, right? So it's like, again, you've been flipping a lot of single family houses, right? When someone sends you a property, what town do you like flipping houses in?
Let's call it Paramus or Hackensack. Up and coming, right?
Okay, cool. So just take Paramus as an example. If someone brought you a 3-bedroom, 2-bath for $700,000 in a terrible neighborhood that needed 300 grand worth of work, you're probably like, no thanks. But like the fact that that quickly, right? What I try to do is help you identify the same thing in commercial,
right?
Which is like you get a lead and it's like, oh, I want $7 million for my property. And you immediately go, there's no freaking way that makes sense. Like your radar goes off where instead of saying, I'm going to go pitch a listing on this guy wants twice market value. Like I'm not going to spend any more time on to the next lead. Boom. I'll follow up with this guy in 6 to 12 months when he's maybe more realistic. And I'll send him a bunch of offers between 3 million and 4.5. Call it a day. But it's because so many people spend so much time on the deals that will never sell, which is why they always they end up only selling a few deals a year.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so like it's speed to lead and speed to understanding of like how do I make money on this property. Yeah, so that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about through our time together. But essentially, it's like my intention is to really just make sure like by the end of our time together, you have such a good understanding where like you get a deal, just like in the residential world, you know it that fast of like, hey, like this is exactly how we're going to make money on this deal. Period. End of story. Do you have any properties specifically we need support, maybe possibly underwriting, or you said objections before you wanted to handle it? I can definitely support you in the objection handling here.
Again, I'm good on the phone. It's not going to take long for me to get the hang of it, Henry. I mean, even through some of your videos and some of the content that I've been able to kind of digest so far, it's not going to take me a long time to get it. I just got to get it. And now that I'm committed, couldn't possibly be more committed, man. Now that I'm committed, I'm gonna get up to speed pretty quickly.
So like, what do you feel like we should spend the rest of the next 15 minutes focused on today?
Where is my market? What is my market? If I have a market, what do I need to have a more concise or specific definition of what commercial real estate is to me? Or are we just kind of shooting a shotgun and anything that falls under the umbrella of commercial works for us?
Got it. Okay. So my intention, like personally, what we focus on primarily, like 80-90% of what we sell is multifamily, industrial, retail is our 3 primary types of properties we sell. And then the remaining 10 to 15% is like the odd mixed use deal, liquor stores, car washes, you name it, right?
If and when they come up.
That's our primary focus, are those 3 asset classes.
Okay.
But I would also tell you that your buyers dictate that a lot. So it's like if your buyer pool, as an example, like I'm imagining you have a few friends that you could call up if you had a deal, of 5 million, 8 million, 10 million bucks, certain type of criteria. Like what do you have like the most connections to right now to sell?
The easiest to sell for me at the moment would be anything multifamily, probably between 5 and 20 units.
Then you should be prospecting multifamily 5 to 20 units in northern New Jersey. You should be the guy. And just keep in mind, like what ended up happening for me is that like multifamily was what I started with, right? Like as I went from resi to commercial, I started with multifamily, smaller multis, and then I started realizing that and you'll notice this, and I'm not telling you to start with multiple asset classes day one, but I am saying that you could start with multifamily, and once you pull a couple lead lists, you'll realize that there's only I don't know. Let me see if I can pull this exact number for you because I want you to see it.
And where I am, I mean, you're familiar with Bergen County, obviously, kind of what it's like up here, so it's competitive, man. It's freaking expensive. Things aren't really making much sense at all at the moment. So listen, I'm down. I'm down for whatever you tell me is gonna work.
Right. So here, so this is the one thing I want you to pay attention to. So I cover the whole state of New Jersey. So the entire state. So this is just to give you some reference. You said Bergen County. So if you look at Bergen County, I'm going to change this. This is Reonomy, by the way. Multifamily, general, and then we're going to do sales within the last 12 months. What I'm saying to you is that like you don't have a huge market, right? So what ends up happening is that like when you're trying to only focus on a market where you only have 37 deals that closed in the last 12 months, that's a challenge. Right? Like, what percentage do you think you're going to get of this market? If this is the entirety of the market, even if you had 10% market share, we're talking about 4 deals.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I like to look at is markets where I have a major ability where even if I had 1 or maybe 2% of market share, I'm still doing 100 transactions a year. If you get rid of Bergen, let's just say I do the whole state of New Jersey. So you have 937 transactions. And this is the whole state.
Different stories.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like if I do 2% of market share, that's 20 transactions. But this is what I try to explain to people where it's like, I have people who come to me and they're like, hey, I do multifamily in Monmouth County. It's like, how the heck do you make any money, man?
Right.
It's like,
how do you make it?
There's 700 brokers in Monmouth County. How are you making any money? There's only 37 transactions in one county. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it doesn't make any sense. Like in Resi, you can do that because there's enough transaction volume. Here, there's not enough transaction volume. That's why I'm like, hey, like you might have to go more broad than you realize. Like you can't probably just prospect Bergen County. You got to probably do more of northern New Jersey. The top half of of Jersey from Monmouth County north, right? You'll probably have at least probably 600-700. Right, and then South Jersey, you'll probably have another few hundred. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I got you.
Right. So yeah, I like what you're going through, but also keep in mind, like this is also all multifamilies. This is not 5 to 20.
When you say multi,
I'm saying this is all. This is no cap. This is like 40 units, 200 units, right? Like this is as big as they come, and as all the way down to 5 units.
Gotcha.
Right. I'm trying to. I mean, like like there's no cap on this, right? This is just every property that traded. And you can see here that this was maybe this was one of the larger multifamilies that traded here. Let's go. Let's do sales price. Just curious. I mean, that's a big one. 151 million. Couple bigger transactions in the last 12 months. I mean, it doesn't even tell you a unit count, so that's why when you see one, you can ignore that because it doesn't always mean it's accurate. But like again, you're looking at some of these larger transactions here. 21 million for 123 units in Dover. That's a great. I mean, that looks like a pretty decent deal. Like my intention, like give you an example, is to be like, let me really stop sharing here. If you choose multifamily, that's great, right? Continually pulling those lists of multifamily, hitting the phone super hard. But it's like, you need to be able to find the best possible deals you can and pre-negotiate them when you can too. Which is like, you speak to an owner and he's got a 8-unit multifamily in Paramus. It's like an 8-unit multifamily in Paramus. I would be making that guy an offer for 900, maybe $1 million, and just see where maybe it tickles his fancy. If that's somewhere in the ballpark where we can make something happen, cool. Let's see if we can do some business. But if he wants $3 million for an 8-unit, goodbye.
On to the next one. Follow up 6 months. Put him in.
Right.
Put him in the CRM.
I don't have time for somebody who wants way too much money for their property. I don't have time for that. It's like you and I make money, or most brokers, right? In the broker world specifically, we take outside the investment stuff that you and I do, right? It's like in the broker world, you only make money when a deal closes. So like I'm literally gonna make sure that every minute I can possibly control, I'm not touching stuff that won't sell. Get it away from me, right? Like it's just a waste of time. Like if a guy, again, $3 million, again, someone he's got an 8-unit and he wants $3 million. What are you even talking about? You out of your mind.
As exciting as it might be to finally get your hands on something, right? Where you kind of get that feeling, it's important to be able to say, "We'll talk later."
Next.
I'll be back in a few months.
Yeah,
Next.
no, look, it's like no problem. If I can get you an offer somewhere in that ballpark, I'll make sure I give you a call. By the way, I do have an offer for you for $1.2 million. I know you want $3 million. Here's an offer for 1.2. And they're like, oh, this is ridiculous. I would never want. Okay, but I can't sell your building for $3 million. And by the way, if you find somebody who would buy your building for $3 million, I have $800 million worth of property that I got in the last 90 days that I'd like to sell them. Doesn't make it. No one's paying $250,000 a unit for every single property right now. That's the understanding you need to have as fast as you possibly can, which is like, green light, red light, right? Like, does this make enough sense for me to spend more time on it, or am I moving on to the next?
I got you, man. Absolutely.